Does this thing still work? Hey guys, welcome back to Ej2. And as you can see by the title of this video, we are working on the Ej2 Coupe again. So, I've been killing it off screen. I haven't videoed anything because I'm going to be giving you a short description of all the things I've bought and then show you them on the car. And if I sat here and made a video on every one of these, we would have 55 episodes of building an EG. So I kind of wanted to do it all at once the parts came in. And then tonight we should be able to throw the motor back in the car. Well, in the car for the first time. And we should give you a banger of a video to start off with making the EG a complete GSR drivetrain. And then the next video, of course, we will try to put the turbo kit on. I'm still waiting on a few parts, but I have most of the stuff I need to at least get the manifold in there, the downpipe on, and the turbo on. We might not be able to start it, but at least we'll get the turbo set up on. So let's get right into the video. Hope you guys enjoy. And yeah, this is going to be a fun car. We converted the car to manual steering, so there's no longer a power steering rack in the car. We also ordered this line conversion where you get rid of the stock filter location, so it cleans up the top of the bay a ton. It's basically this piece right here, goes on the fuel line. Here's your return. Now your feed is an AN line. You can see the proportioning valve, instead of being all up here behind the intake manifold and in the way, is now moved down here. Here's the AN lines from the brand new brake master cylinder. And then over here in the corner, you can see the S2000 style clutch master cylinder. And then over there is the LUK Ej2 style slave. This car also now has completely been painted. This is my favorite go-to solution for engine bays. This is actually truck bed liner. So if you do a good prep job and you sand down the whole bay with Scotch-Brite and you truck bed liner the engine bay, you should never have an issue with it. As you see, the suspension and everything is all back together. I will put the car up in the air, and then I'm going to show you exactly how much detail and work I went into of doing. I posted some pictures on Facebook about it, but it's a lot more detail than a lot of people would do on a car like this. Alright guys, so the first voiceover I've ever attempted to do. So what I'm going to show here is the suspension, the brakes, and everything I did to the car in detail. Rotors, same, brand new, still haven't really put any miles on them. Hubs and bearings, brand new, just replaced them. Spindle, I spent 3.5 hours each side with the grinder, sanding it down, painting it. The front brakes are brand new. Calipers got painted with 2000 degree ceramic paint. Brackets got painted, forks got painted, inner and outer tie rod ends are brand new. The lower control arms are brand new. The upper control arms have new bushings on the inside, but the control arm is still the same one. So the only thing on the front suspension that hasn't been replaced is the coilover and control arm. The inner fender well got painted with some Rust-Oleum rust barrier so that we don't have any Pennsylvania rust. I also did a mild wire tuck. While I had the complete suspension out of the car, I pulled the K-member and the traction bar. I Scotch-Brighted the traction bar arms and painted the front traction bar to match the engine bay. I also made sure to tape off the factory stickers so that there was no paint over them, so it looks OEM plus. The K-member got completely pulled, painted, arms removed, everything was painted with detail. So basically the front of the car is all brand new. The underneath of the car was rust barrier painted and then undercoated. On the rear of the car, as you see, Yonaka 3-inch exhaust, mandrel bent, rear subframe brace with Yoast built sticker on it was all cleaned up. The rear control arms got new bushings and new bolts. The trailing arms were of course cleaned and painted. The upper camber kit cleaned. Didn't need paint, it was anodized. The brakes on the rear got all replaced, new pads or drums and pads. The bushings I already made a video on. Those are brand new. Those are solid pillow bushings as well. So basically this car has only polyurethane or pillow bushings. The rear front suspension is all new as well. The bolts got replaced because it had 8.8 grade 3 bolts in it, so I put 10.9 grade 5s, so there's no weak point in the rear suspension. That's what I'm showing here. The only thing on the rear that's still the same, of course, is that coilover and lower control arm. But everything's replaced, new, fancier bolts, upgraded everything. Bolt in the camber kit as well, didn't skimp out on anything. Wheel spins easy. Now let's get to the motor swap.
All right, guys, time for that moment. I have the transmission in the block with the 2000 degree ceramic flat black. The head, which was redone at the machine shop, having a natural color. Skunk 2 intake manifold. The automatic to manual passenger side mount, which I had to reuse off the LS because this car was originally automatic. So I have the post mount, which I had just painted on the motor, and the valve cover will be getting changed. But I'm going to throw you guys on the head cam on the GoPro, and then I'm going to get this motor in here by myself, hopefully, without too much struggle, and hopefully we don't scratch up the engine bay, because she's going to look pretty with her GSR in there.
Alright guys, time for voiceover number 2. So, bringing the car down with the lift by myself, of course. Doing this by yourself is not that easy. You see me adjust the motor around a few times. I did hit TPS, so I will have to order one of those and replace it. So the video might take a little longer, or the startup video might take a little longer. But got the motor down pretty easily. The crank pulley bolt hit the traction bar, slide it back over. It's not that hard to put a motor in, but doing it alone, of course, is not fun. But lift and a dolly underneath the motor helps a lot. Throwing the driver's side motor mount on, using a jack underneath the dolly to pick the motor up kind of where it needs to go. You can see the car moving around, so you're going to see me go behind the car, throw a jack stand under the back tire to stop the car from rolling backwards. You see my head cam, even though it didn't work, it kind of recorded the sky. Yes, I used a pry bar to pry it over to get the transmission side bolt in place. But basically, once you do that and the motor's centered in the car, you can take the jack, slide it under the transmission, or slide it under the motor by itself, jack it up a little bit. You get the air, or get your electric impact, tighten the bolt down, and your motor is now officially part of the car. On to the next part of the video. So when I painted the car, when I painted the motor, I also made sure to tape over the VIN numbers, as well as the sticker for the transmission. A lot of people don't do this, and it is really annoying. I wish everybody would, because then you can figure out what the motor actually is and what the transmission actually is. This is a V4D GSR trans and a GSR motor. Skunk 2 intake manifold as well. Mugen oil cap, which doesn't really mean anything. I think it's the eBay one that doesn't really do anything. But you can see the stainless steel brake lines, and the GSR is now in the car. And
so the front end's back on. Well, it's kind of on. It's just sitting there. Since you guys have last seen me putting the motor in, I installed the axles, put the spindles together. So the front suspension is 100% together. I'm going to have to adjust everything because I've replaced everything on the car, as you guys could tell from earlier in the video. So brake lines are all going to be bled. I hooked up the throttle cable. I have to make a bracket for it. I do have a different valve cover. Like I said, I have a ram horn turbo manifold, which I will be putting on, showing you in the next video. Hopefully we can get this thing started and running. I do need to pull the wiring harness apart right here and make sure that there's no issues, because this car before didn't start through the key. So I want to fix that. I don't want the push button start. I want it to work with the key as it is intended from Honda, with no issues. So yeah, bleeding clutch, bleeding brakes, finished putting the turbo kit on, or put the turbo kit on, wire the car. I do have 1000cc injectors for it, as I showed earlier. Another thing I ordered is a Hellcat pump, for a 525 pound per hour Hellcat pump. My goal is to make somewhere in the 350, 400 horsepower range. I know it shouldn't be too hard with, a head stud GSR. But I also ordered a set of Skunk 2 tuner 1s, which from everything I've read do really, really well on boost. So I ordered a set of those. But yeah, 70 mil throttle body, Skunk 2 Pro intake manifold. I do need a 3-bar map sensor, of course, for the throttle body. And I did crack the TPS if you were watching on the head cam. Other than that, there's no scratches on the engine bay. Everything looks as it should. Fantastic, clean. I do have a different valve cover, which I will be swapping. So I'm going to get to bed because it's now like 2 o'clock in the morning. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, you guys are the greatest. And let's see if we can hit 10,000 in 2021 with a Yoast built. And maybe get this thing dynoed, well, finish dynoing it. I was fixing the timing, and then get this thing on a dyno. And these two cars should make similar power and weigh similar weights. So maybe we can get both of these things to go low 11s, high 10s. Who knows? Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great night.